Hello, and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and I'm at the 117 Gallery located in the Ann Arbor Arts Center. We'll be learning more about the gallery and exhibition throughout the show. Today's episode is all about revitalizing old art forms and documenting the stories and traditions of today. First up is the Raisin Ragtime Revue, led by William Pemberton. This group brings ragtime music to today's audiences while teaching them the history of the genre. We caught up with them as they rehearsed an historic collaboration with composer Reginald Robinson. Check it out.
Ragtime, like America itself, is really a melting pot of cultures.
It was a message of a people who were, I'm quoting a friend of mine, a caged bird that was freed. You could feel the freedom in the music at the time.
The joy, joie de vivre, it just feels good. It makes you happy. It makes you want to get out of the seat and dance.
Ragtime music started on the plantations in the South. And it was advanced by musicians like Scott Joplin and Harry P. Guy and other ones. People should know that this was the origins of all the music that we have in America today. Blues, jazz, country music, all of it started with ragtime.
Ragtime is the foundation of American music, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
It's a melting pot of different influences. I would say you have a lot of the African rhythms, and you have the march, the European march, which was very key in ragtime. The African rhythms were translated through the clave, which would actually be what makes it ragtime, is the syncopation. Then you have the Latin harmonies and melodies. All this is put in one time. And eventually it transformed into what was called jazz.
I'm both a historian and a musician. I'm trained as a professional musician, started studying classical music. And so the blend of history and music is what attracted me to ragtime. Raisin Ragtime Revue came about in 2002. I was the president of the Tecumseh Area Historical Society at the time. I had just written a grant through the Smithsonian Institute to bring a traveling exhibit from the Smithsonian to Tecumseh. It was an exhibit about the future. And I loved how interactive the exhibit was. And I'd sit back and I'd watch visitors come into this small town museum and be taken in. And I thought, why isn't music like that? Why aren't music concerts like that? Where you go and you hear the music and you learn more than just hearing the tune. You actually learn the history and you find out why the person wrote that music or what that music represented. And that's when I started the group, with kind of that intention of sharing the importance of history and music. Raisin Ragtime Revue hires musicians from throughout the state and actually out of the state too. We attract musicians that share that mission of celebrating American history and music. And they are fine musicians. I have to tell you, it's a little tricky finding the right players because the charts are orchestrated. They're written charts in orchestral key, so that takes classically trained musicians to be able to read well. But there's an unwritten style in ragtime, just like in jazz.
Our director does a great job of explaining the pieces and giving us the history and the background. And so that's one of the things I really love about performing with the group, is learning the rich cultural history and then also bringing that music to life to the audiences and really communicating and telling a story.
Probably the number one thing that we're trying to get is a sense of style, because if ragtime doesn't have the right style, it's not exciting. It corresponded with a great dance era. It has to have, people refer to ragtime as having a certain lilt or swagger. And if it doesn't have that style, it's not going to mean anything to me.
There's not a lot of flashy playing with the drums, but we do add a lot of flavor, and you'll hear sometimes a lot of cowbells and wood blocks and whistles and sounds. So really adding a lot of color to the ragtime music and the ragtime era.
Keep it clean and precise is what it takes to play the ragtime. The angularity of the melodies, do-do, 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 okay, that sort of stuff, rather than a nice da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. So there's all these skips and harmonic changes. There's a harmony change on almost every eighth note in good ragtime. So every note on the page is relevant.
Part of our mission is not only to educate and entertain through the performance and preservation of ragtime, but we do aim to take the music forward and make it pertinent. This Cultural Harmonies program is a little bit different because this is all new music. It's a big deal that it's the first time since the ragtime era that a major collection of ragtime that's both composed and orchestrated by African Americans is being released to the public, both in print and via recording.
This is the first time these piano pieces have been written out for anything larger than two hands on a piano.
He's an amazing orchestrator, and that's why I wanted him to be the person to orchestrate my music. He'll just make these arrangements up, and they sound right.
I just hope we live up to the quality that Reginald has presented us with. Reginald does a great job of sticking with that vein of using Latin themes with African rhythms, with Western traditions. He's got a daredevil's gallop, which is, he's got a Mexican march. He's got tangos. And I think in today's world, that's really important to know that America is made up of diverse elements.
I had very little freedom because I wanted to make sure that I stayed true to his notes. So 80% of the notes on that concert are his. A few of them are some things that I added just for effect and so on. If it's not infectious to me, it's not going to be to you. So I have to make sure that I know how to make everybody feel what's going on.
I don't know, it's magic. They're a group of great musicians. I simply put it that way, great musicians, and they know, and I think William Pemberton really understands the music and how it should be played. It feels like being on a cloud. I actually felt that today. I was like, this is not real. I'm actually hearing my music, pieces that I only play. I mean, I've been playing for over 20 years. Now I'm hearing it. I'm not playing it. I'm sitting in the back room listening, and I'm hearing my music played by others, and they really play it well. So, I mean, it's like unbelievable.
You can learn more about the Raisin Ragtime Revue, as well as all the artists we feature on DetroitPerforms.org.